struggle. I struggle in my
Yes,
faith. Even at this point. Well, granted, we had a great experience.
Yeah.
And that was really something I needed, right?
Yeah.
But I struggle because, again, I'm extremely rational and logical. You know what I mean? And for me, it's so hard to talk about something with somebody if I can't convey that experience to them, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's why I loved psychedelics, because it was like, oh, you want to see God? Here's 5 doses, 5 grams of, here's a heroic dose of mushrooms, right? Or take some DMT.
Yeah.
But we also have to take that with caution, right? Because like with all these ayahuasqueros, one of the most important things is that, you're basically shooting your soul into the spirit realm.
Yeah,
right?
you're opening a portal.
What do you mean by soul?
Well, I believe that we have a soul. I believe that we have a spirit. I believe that there is a immaterial aspect to us.
Okay.
Because no one really knows where consciousness is generated.
Okay.
Right? We don't have any explanation for that voice in your head. How did that? What part of the brain produces that shit?
Right. They're trying to figure it out, but yeah, no, I get it's on that level that we can't measure. It's something looser, less dense.
So when people start to talk about like astral projection and things like that, what you're doing is you're untethering your soul, your spirit from your physical body. That's why people say they can like see themselves in their bed and they're floating over them, or they can travel and all that kind of stuff.
Stories, yeah.
I'm not recommending to do that, because I do believe that there is a certain danger to doing that. And that's why with the ayahuasqueros, what they'll do is they'll take a little bit of the ayahuasca with you so that they can be there to guide you or pull you out if you're getting into something heavy. Then this is when I realized, oh shit, we can't just be blasting off all the time. Because it's like a tether, right? Like, that scene where like someone has to go into the water and swim to the other side to save somebody, but then somebody has a rope, you know what I mean, connected to them and to pull them out if they need to. That's the same thing that's happening when you're blasting off. So realizing that, I always made sure not to go too deep, even though I went pretty fucking deep. Realizing that, and then hearing the stories about the shamans and the ayahuasqueros, and so it's just.
So what are those dangers if you go too deep?
The dangers for sure is that, there are spirits, there are entities. Everybody talks about that, right? Even Terence McKenna, the self-transforming mechanical elves and everything. Just as much as we think that there is good in that realm, there is bad. Okay? So there are predators. There are spiritual predators. Demons.
I think that's the simplest way to sum it up, is just demons. And realistically, like even, I just tell you from like my facial perspective, completely barring out the psychedelic portion of it, a lot of what you're essentially, when you're opening yourself up to anything, because essentially if we even look in the Bible and it talks about like when you cast out demons, he would tell you like, no, you need to fill your house. In other words, you need to fill yourself with faith, because when you do not have absolute faith in things, if the demon comes back in 7 days to an empty house, he'll come back with 3 more. And it's kind of the same thing. Like when you're astral projecting, you're leaving the house empty, so you're opening yourself up for attachments.
Yes.
And matter of fact, like even reconciliation, this is something that I don't see in Protestantism, which is a lot of what pulled me back towards Catholicism, was the fact that you do have reconciliation. Because not only is it to reconcile our sins here so we have a better communion with God, actually one of the reasons why we do that is actually to cleanse ourselves of, because sin allows for demons to attach itself to us. Like, that's why in the Bible it tells you you're supposed to pray away your anxieties. You're not supposed to focus on that. You work towards resolving your goals, but anxiousness, worry,
and then after that,
yeah,
you take the Eucharist or the communion and you wash yourself with the blood of Christ.
Exactly.
And that's how you get all that
you receive
bad juju out of there. You know?
Okay.
But essentially that's how you fill the house, and you cleanse yourself to prevent that. So to me, like when you're taking psychedelics, you're actually opening yourself up all like all the way.
Yes.
You know, for anything to come at you, and you may not know what it is.
But not just psychedelics, right? Even other hardcore drugs, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because when you look at Skid Row, when you go there and you see people that are like zombies walking around like they're possessed. I mean, that's essentially what we're saying is what's happening.
Yeah.
They've opened themselves up, and now they have all these attachments, and before you know it, you don't even have an identity with yourself. You're just
you're so disassociated from
hodgepodge
yourself.
of all this spiritual entities and all. Yeah, man. So it gets
kind
pretty
of
crazy.
schizophrenic. Like you don't know what's real, what's what anymore.
That's exactly right. That's exactly it right there. Schizophrenia.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it manifests as.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just realizing all of that stuff. I really had to make sure that I'm not going to overstep my spiritual practices, and I try to stay grounded. And so now, for me, it's grounding myself in the church with Christ, because at the end of the day, there is a spirit of love and hate. And it's like, dude, what do you want to be a part of? You know what I mean? I'm trying to be a part of the spirit of love.
Yeah.
That's what God is. God is love. God is not
Absolutely.
some kind of scary thing. I mean, of course, we fear God because
He's more than we can fully
understand. But the demons, the devil, whatever, they try to scare us. They try to put fear in our hearts, right? Doubt. You know what I mean? And then what does that do? Like you said, it cuts that connection with God.
And it allows for them to anchor themselves and attach into you. And that, and it can feel oppressive because, I mean, like you hear horror stories with a lot of exorcisms that happen,
Sure.
And occur. And it,
Yeah, what's up with that?
like,
Is it real?
Well, what's interesting about exorcism? It's a very serious thing because, just because you have some sort of mental illness or something doesn't mean that you're possessed.
Yeah, exactly.
There has to be some real vetting out to really make sure that, okay, this person is possessed by something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and that's actually why most exorcists, they're actually trained psychologists because there's a severe vetting process because they don't want to put somebody through the rigors of an exorcism if that's not there. And I totally believe those are real. I mean, I've seen too many other things and just, I've seen like very synchronistic things from the past that like, just lead me to believe all this stuff. But I will say, like, just even when we're talking about reconciliation, the priests almost go in like a SWAT team. Like, it's not like where you see in the movie where like one priest goes in, he starts saying,
Right.
You mean exorcism?
Exorcism, correct? Yeah, but the priests, they go in like a SWAT team.
They go in as twos at least, right?
Yes, because they actually give confession to each other before they go into the room.
Yeah, so they can be cool with whatever comes up.
So they can be
Yeah,
clear.
because if they're not cleansed,
Then they start
whatever's
getting
sitting in there
attached
can
to what they
attack.
say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, Constantine, just got to watch the movie Constantine, dude. I mean, but yeah, no, it's really crazy when you start to realize the spiritual world, and oh man, it's forever changed me. So yeah, definitely I think we have to be very careful. Granted, I love psychedelics, I really do, because it was pretty important for my development.
Yeah, me too.
But just like how usually when you start to get really adept at something, you move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I feel the same way, except like there's a part of me that feels like psychedelics are important to like maintain, like keep going there. But then, like where I'm at right now spiritually is like what you were saying before. I can totally feel like that going too deep because, dude, if I take it, it's like this massive accelerated unraveling.
Yeah.
To where, dude, I feel like I could just disappear. Or
That's
something. Like I don't know what.
That is it right there, and that's what I'm saying is that we're gonna get lost in it because you're swimming in a sea of spirits. You know what I mean? I remember very clearly when I had this one DMT trip. I'll never forget this. I was being bombarded with silky fabrics of colors and just like flowing at my face, and then all of a sudden I feel like pressure down where like that root chakra
Okay.
is
Yeah.
at, right? And I immediately remember like, oh, this is a distraction. They're distracting me. And I had to like cast out whatever was being like attached to me.
Okay.
And it felt like it was down there. And obviously when you learn about Eastern spirituality, you learn about the root chakra, you
Yeah.
learn about how that's like a very primal spot.
Yes.
You know?
Survival and yeah, eating.
And what was it doing? It was trying to distract me with that, you know? And the moment that I said, get the fuck out of here with this distraction, I want to see God, the DMT trip stopped.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's why we got to be super careful, dude.